nervous.
Count to 5.
1,
Not everybody.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's the voice you want to use.
Really?
Everybody reading the scripts slower than you think you need to be. Alright? Unlike yesterday, this does have to be silent in the background. So each one is only about a minute and a half. Then you can gab with your groups while the next group is coming up. But while they're filming, it does have to be silent.
So is he still live yet?
Woo!
This is
Woo!
on. It's on.
Woo!
Yeah, camera is on right now.
It goes this way though, right?
Correct.
Alright.
Ready? 3, 2.
The Erie Canal was built for a safe and cheap way to carry produce to markets. In 1768, the construction of the Erie Canal was proposed. The proposal was to connect the Hudson River to Lake Ontario. During the time of 1808, the New York lawmakers constructed a survey to connect the Hudson River to Lake Erie instead of Lake Ontario. However, the Erie Canal would need to be paid for. Congress approved to pay for the canal. However, President James Monroe vetoed it. The New York state lawmakers decided to pay for it themselves. Finally, on July 4th, 1817, construction of the Erie Canal began. Then, 9 years later, on October 26, 1825, the Erie Canal was finished. Between the time of 1836 and 1862, the Erie Canal was enlarged. Again, the canal was recently enlarged and is now 12 to 14 feet deep, 120 to 200 feet wide, and 363 miles long. The canal ranges from Albany to Buffalo. Technically, the Erie Canal was officially finished in 1918. Thomas Allen made the canal song in 1905. The Erie Canal has helped a lot when it comes to shipping. Before the canal was made, it cost $100 to ship 1 ton of goods. Now, after the canal was made, it only costs $10 to ship 1 ton of goods. Ever since the canal was built, additional canals were attached to the Erie Canal, like Lake Champlain, Lake Ontario, and the Finger Lakes. The whole thing is called the New York Canal System.
Next group.
I messed up.
This is getting in the way. This is getting in the way.
You didn't mess it up. It's fine. It's just
Well,
with
it, like the
sometimes it
things
gets
would hit
caught
it
on it.
and like come back.
You were the thing, I was like,
Yeah,
I was about to laugh.
I was like,
Did I do good?
When you're just like this, like if I say like the 3 candidates, when you like you can just go like that, and then you take them off, and then some other time you just come back on. You want to do that? Alright. Okay. Just so that's like
Or the Spanish if it's the British guys, right?
Yeah. Wait. Yeah.
okay, you move my picture.
This is the mic you're reading to.
Okay.
So it's a little extra loud.
Guys, do you want me to skip that?
Yeah.
Alright, ready?
You guys ready? Yep.
Alright. Here we go.
And 3, 2.
The First Seminole War took place in 1818. The Seminoles, an Indian tribe in Spanish-controlled Florida, were attacking American settlements in Georgia. The Americans were mad and decided to send troops to Georgia to deal with the Seminoles, but not invade Florida. There was an Indian village named Fulltown in southwest Georgia. The chief of the village got into an argument with the U.S. commander over land. The U.S. sent 250 men to deal with them. At first, they were beaten off. The next day, the Indians were driven from their village. That is considered the start of the war. A supply boat carrying supplies to the fort was attacked on the Apalachicola River. 40 to 50 people were on the boat at the time. Most of the people were killed by the Seminoles. 1 woman was captured, and 6 made it to the fort. That was the Scott Massacre. We were not to invade Florida, but we were allowed to make small crosses into Florida. After the Scott Massacre, the U.S. Army was ordered to invade but the commander left to battle pirates. Andrew Jackson was then ordered to lead the invasion. Jackson and his troops went through Florida, burning Seminole villages, killing Seminoles, and leaving a trail of fire and death behind him. St. Mark's, a Spanish fort, was taken by Jackson after killing and burning the Seminoles around the fort and their villages. Jackson captured 2 British people. They were accused of aiding and enticing the Seminoles and the Spanish to attack the U.S. One was hanged and the other was shot. The Spanish, after losing the capital of Florida, left it knowing they had lost. Jackson went home after capturing Florida, left American troops there, and left a lot of Seminoles dead.
Next group.
That one alright. I'm sorry, Steve. I was trying to nudge you to get the stuff up, but it was just easier for me to grab it. I'm sorry.
I went slow.
Yeah, you did.
Ryan, tap that microphone for a second.
Here or here?
Yeah, dude, I'm sorry. I was just realizing.
When do you want me to stop tapping? Okay. My face isn't showing up on the camera, right? Okay. Okay, I think I'm ready.
I don't know how it fits within the rest of your story.
So I have to be like shouting. So I'm like,
That microphone.
well, this one.
This one will pick it up automatically, but that's what you need to talk to.
Okay. So like this, like
Wait, if we have extra time, 'cause I messed up.
it's bogus. You want my voice to be like this, like loud, like this.
Everybody, make sure you're talking past the first microphone. First mic is just for the live. The one on the red camera is the one that's picking it up.
Okay then.
That might be even better. Lean forward on the table. That's
La la la.
All right, ready?
Wait. I
Here we
need.
go.
Wait. Oh. So now, no.
Hold on.
Can you like tell me when to start talking, like
Yep.
with a sign or something?
Yep. All right, in 3. So I'm gonna go 3, 2. You do 1 in your head, and then you start.
Okay.
3, 2.
On December 2nd, 1823, President James Monroe created the Monroe Doctrine. The doctrine said that the European nations would not colonize or place their own government in the Western Hemisphere. President Monroe first presented the doctrine to Congress during his 7th State of the Union address. The doctrine was ignored greatly by many people worldwide. The Latin Americans, South America, thought that the doctrine was not strong enough against the EU. During the 1800s, the Monroe Doctrine was extended. This extension was called the Big Brother. The Big Brother was created by James G. Blaine. The reason for this was for the Latin Americans to open up their markets to the U.S. Another add-on to the doctrine was added sometime during the 1900s. This add-on was called the Roosevelt Corollary. It was added by none other than Theodore Roosevelt. It was added so the U.S. would be allowed to intervene with Latin America. Next, in 1928, President Kennedy concluded in the Clark Memorandum that the U.S. was not needed in the way of the Latin American lives, and that the Latin Americans could defend themselves against actions of other countries, peoples, etc. And the conclusion of the Monroe Doctrine took place sometime during the Cold War. During this time, the Monroe Doctrine was applied to the Latin Americans.
Next.
I think I did pretty good.
Everybody reading the scripts gotta go louder.
Essentially,
Louder.
Kimmy.
Louder.
Wait, was that loud enough? Well, you told me to slow down. Like, I can't be shouting when I'm. I can't start.
The three candidates of the election were. Yeah, I got it. I can't reach through this, man. I thought it would be cool. Should I just do this in a pile and just keep them like this? I'm gonna do that. Do you want these then or no? No, you're gonna hold them. Because I'm gonna go like this. Because, like, I'm gonna go the three candidates where and you're gonna bring them in, okay? You go first and then you come stand right here. I'll go stand right here.
I need my bag.
Jenna, you say your name first and then Vicky.
Ready? Ready?
You ready, Jen? Yeah.
Loud.
Okay.
The loudest you've ever been this year.
Loud. There's no time for practice. This is where you've got to get your voice in.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Alright. 3, 2.
This is the election of 1824 by
Jenna, Vicky.
and Kim. The three candidates of the election were Andrew Jackson, John Quincy Adams, and Henry Clay. Jackson got the most popular votes, but not enough electoral votes to win. This had to go to the House of Representatives for them to choose. Clay knew he was not going to win and didn't want Jackson to win. So Clay told his voters to vote for Adams in return for a favor. Clay used that favor to become the Secretary of State. After Adams won, Jackson blamed him of bribing Clay with Secretary of State for his votes so he could win. No one listened and Adams became president of 1824. This was the election of 1824.
Done. Next.
Got softer towards the end. You're supposed to hold him. He's over here.
Everybody reading has got to be a lot louder.
But how loud?
Alright, ready?
Yep.
Stop. 3. 3. 3. 2.
In the 1800s, roads were in bad shape, and shipping by land was expensive. So in 1817, Dwight Clinton proposed the idea of making a canal from Buffalo to Albany, New York, by the Hudson River, because it was cheaper to ship by water than land. Devices called locks were used to move the boat down the river. A lock is a part of the canal with gates at either end, and when the boat enters the section of the lock operator will close the gate behind it, and in doing so, the water level reaches the right height and the forward gate is unlocked, and the boat goes on its way. There are also things called tow paths along the canal. The tow path is a path along the canal that allows horses to pull the boat through the canal. Profits were made because shipping cargo ended up costing less money, and the canal decreased travel time. This success sparked canal building nationwide, and in 1918 it was inducted into the New York State Bridge Canal System, and it is still used today.
Next. Sorry, kick that cord under the table.
It's beautiful.
Rectangle.
It'll make you laugh even more.
Wait, can we take the sound from
No, put them in backwards, alright?
Ours, and then I can just do my part over here.
Wait, you do have Britain in there too, right?
What?
Where's England?
I mean, it's possible. The amount of work.
So yeah, you have to slap them like
I
that.
want to go. I want to do it. Yeah.
She's not forcing me to go.
Un momento. Don't forget to put
Three.
on the time.
Slow, then you think it's slow.
3, 2.
The War of 1812 was between USA and England. It ended in American favor. Because they had just defeated the best military of the time, they experienced a period of peace and respect. 4 years after America's success, in 1816, James Monroe won an election against Rufus King, 184 votes to 34. Journalists soon reported that America had entered the era of good feelings. In 1820, Monroe was re-elected president with not much trouble. During his presidency, his administration solved conflicts via foreign powers. There were still some conflicts going on, though. The Treaty of Ghent, while pleasing most Americans, did not solve control of waterways between Canada and America. The British and Americas both wanted to keep fishing rights and navies on the Great Lakes. The two sides eventually compromised with the Rush-Bagot Agreement. It gave limited naval power to both sides. To solve other ongoing problems, the two then signed the Convention of 1818. This gave America fishing rights off Labrador and Newfoundland coast. It also established the border between USA and Canada at the 49th parallel all the way to the Rockies.
Next group.
I don't want to be loud. It's okay.
Maybe you should be quiet. It's gonna work on YouTube.
Alright, ready? Alright. 3, 2.
The election of 1824. There were 5 candidates, and all of them ran as Republicans. 3 of the candidates were John Adams, Andrew Jackson, and Henry Clay. John Adams was the Secretary of State. Jackson was the Secretary of Tennessee. Jackson had the most votes, but not enough electoral votes to win the election. So the House of Representatives had to determine the winner. Clay knew he had no chance to win, so he gave his votes to Adams. As a result, Adams won the election. Because of this, all of Jackson's supporters protested that Adams had made a corrupt bargain. Then Adams appointed Clay as the Secretary of State. This made people think that Henry Clay and John Adams were allies, and it increased all that they made a corrupt bargain.
Next.
How slow? I mean,
When I put them in this order, this exact order. I don't need to reuse anything.
All you say shit. No, it says you say
Swag. And if I mess up, just correct it.
Either way, you would have
Where?
No, just pull it out or something.
Wait, which way are you pushing it? This way or back?
Swag.
It goes in like this, right?
Swag. Can I say that? Swag.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alright. 3. This is the last one. And then there's 11 minutes and we'll go if people want to redo it. So ready? 3, 2.
Up to 1819, there was an equal amount of slave and free states. There were 11 free and 11 slaves. James Talmadge of New York suggested that they prohibit Missouri as a slave state. Missouri at the time did not only want to become a state, but a slave state of the whole country. If they made Missouri a slave state, the country would be off bounds and they would have to turn Maine into a free state. Maine was declared a new state and Missouri was allowed to make a constitution with no restrictions against slavery. The House and Senate agreed that slavery would be allowed from Missouri and southward all the way to Mexico. For the rest of the country, from the Louisiana Territory and northward, were named illegal to have slavery.
A little.
I know. I was late on that one.
Read slowly. Hello.
You want to go now? Your group has the biggest, you have the biggest problem.
I'll read. Get out. I'll read.
It's all your fault that I have to read again.
Yeah, shit.
It's all.
I'm helping this time, buddy. Nope.
Oh God. Get out of here, both of you. Get out.
I'm helping. It said I could.
Joe, get out. I'm ready this time. Kelly, we need you.